Welcome back to this already, the final segment of today's Price of Business. Lots of great articles over there. David New, he was interviewed by Dan Abate at priceofbusiness.com. He's founder of a company called tinypulse.com. Nelson Cabrera, he's also been interviewed by Dan Abate over there at priceofbusiness.com. He's with shiplily.com. Lots of great articles. And this contributor, Charles Alvarez, he's got a lot of new articles. He does a weekly column over at usdailyreview.com, plus a lot of content over at priceofbusiness.com. And he is an incredible thought leader. And when it comes to sales and marketing consulting, he does a phenomenal job with my companies, and which is why I like to bring his wisdom to our audience. And he's with a company called Cornerstone Business Academy, cornerstonebusinessacademy.com. How are you, Charles?
I'm doing fantastic, Kevin. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, tell us real quickly about your guest today.
Well, I'm really excited to have Brian Mazar on the show today. You know, when we get into business, we find that typically three good things happen eventually to a business. Either they get sold, whether it be to somebody else or to its employees. It either goes public, which is also a fun thing to do, or it merges with another company. And I mean, I don't like talking about the fourth one, which of course it could just die, but Brian's company does just that. It evaluates companies and prepares them to get sold. So Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself and your firm.
Well, we have been in business for 16 years. I personally am out of Detroit. I've spent 22, 23 years in the corporate world out of Detroit, moved to Kentucky, love it down here. We do work nationwide. One of the things that obviously we do in preparation for a business to be very good on the market is exit planning, and obviously the other part is valuation, so that when you take a business on the market, it is indeed valued properly to the market, so it's not undervalued or overvalued, so it's received well on the marketplace. And then finally, obviously, taking the business to the market and effectively facilitating the sale of that business, working with our clients to sell that business, and then working with buyers who are looking to make acquisitions or, in some cases, mergers.
Yeah. Go ahead, Charles.
So, Brian, what is the biggest challenge that your clients are facing, and kind of how you're addressing those challenges?
Well, there are a number. Obviously, we've gone through the last 4.5 years where clients, due to the recession, have put the sale of businesses on a back burner because their profits have really been down. So even though, if you follow the baby boomers, many have had a need to sell because of age, but due to, again, values being down because of profitability. So that has been a problem for many. Now that many have started to become profitable, they're starting to find that the value that they have anticipated is kind of in line with what buyers are willing to pay. So things are really looking up quite well for clients that we're working with.
Yeah, very good. By the way, you mentioned you were from the Detroit area. What part of Detroit?
Troy area was the last place that I had lived, which is northwest suburb of Detroit.
Yeah, it was the past home of Kmart.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I grew up in Ferndale. So anyway, I'm always curious when I talk to Michiganders. Close, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Charles. Get back to reality.
And Brian, I know that this is a very it's not a short answer, so I guess if we can stay high level, that'd be good. But what are some of the factors? I mean, of course, revenue, profitability, growth rate. What are some of the other factors that factor into valuing a company? Because as you've said in our conversations, it's more art than it is science. But I'd like to kind of just get your kind of your 50,000-foot view on what are the factors that affect the value of a business?
That's a good question. Obviously, like you had mentioned, we start off with the obvious, which are the financials, which is a key driver of a value. And then the subjectivity parts, which play a big role, and they affect the way a buyer will view risk. And if you take an example of a business that has maybe 30-40% of its business with a client or customer, that's going to be seen as a risk, because if they buy that business and that customer or client go away, well, they have just bought a business that may really be all of a sudden not profitable. Family issues. If a business that's being sold has a lot of family in the business, it may work very well, may be very profitable. A buyer buying that business, all of a sudden that family goes away, the dynamic goes away, the culture may change. That presents a threat, that presents risk for the new buyer. So those are many of those kind of examples that I could go on that really pose a lot of risk to a buyer. Very often the other obvious one is where the owner is the business, and that's something that in smaller business, even in businesses that are revenue $15, $20 billion business, where the owner is very involved in the business day to day, and they have not learned to, for one reason or another, to obviously give the work to other people, and they enjoy being very hands-on. Again, that becomes a problem, because if a large company buys that business, a lot of the day-to-day activity, very often a lot of the practices, a lot of the processes may be in the head of the current owner, and that becomes very problematic, including the relationships with the customers and even suppliers and so forth. And so transferring all of that to a new owner becomes very problematic, and it poses a risk. So no matter what the value indicators show in terms of financials, those kind of examples have a huge push and pull on the value indirectly that buyers will see as risk.
Yeah, I do want to mention the website is fortunebta.com, fortunebta.com. If you go there, go to the contact page and make sure you submit your information so you can learn more about them. But also, if you see on the right, they have a very intriguing book that I plan on getting that's by our guest today, Why 80% of Businesses Never Sell. And it's interesting because, there's probably more, somewhere around 60% plus of all homes are sold through a broker or an agent of some form, but less than 10% of businesses are sold through a broker. And that's always been a mystery to me. And it's amazing how many real estate brokers end up going into business brokering when they know absolutely nothing about cash flow. And you sit there and you wonder, who in the world thought that would be a good idea? They know how to value maybe one of the assets and not even the most valuable asset. And so it's that lack of information that leads to a lack of selling, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, very often we step back a little bit. Most business owners take it for granted that selling a business is very different than selling a asset, real estate, or anything like that. And so they don't prepare for it. They somehow think that when it's time to sell the business, they're just simply going to announce to the world that they're going to be selling it. One, due to confidentiality, you don't want to announce to the world that you're selling a business. It has to be done very confidentially because of employees and customers and everyone else involved. So they don't plan, and because of the lack of planning, they get mixed results. The dependency, too, is because of very often thinking that they own the business, they're smart, that they can do this themselves. So they resort to try to sell that on their own. They may turn to an attorney, to accountant, who may help, but they're not necessarily the right people to really provide the right support and the successful results.
We got to call it a show, but boy, it was a great one. We really enjoyed your time today, Brian. You brought a lot of great information, and Brian Mazar, and you can get more information over at fortunebta.com. Go to the contact page, get that download, why 80% of businesses never sell. Charles, with just a few seconds left, your final thoughts?
I love Brian's company to death. I think he's got a great business model, and he's one of the few business brokers that actually tell me, or not business broker, but valuators who actually say, yes, it does matter how much the business owner has systematized the business. So, Brian, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So when we come back tomorrow, I'll have much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. I'm Kevin Price. Have a great day and spend it right here.